you have proved E is equal to minus del V. So that means what? Del V dot dl, del V dot dl. So again, already we have proved this dv is equal to del V dot dl because that is available here. The same thing we are getting there also. So okay, but what we are interested in this formula, very very important formula. Electric field E is equal to minus del V, minus del V. Again, you know what is del? Del means differential operator. Okay, del means differential operator. Okay, so again, it is a spatial operator. Okay, it is a spatial operator. It generally operates in three domain. Okay, three axes: x axis, y axis, and z axis. And again, your potential variation may be in any one of the axes. Okay, maybe in any one of the axes. Okay, so what is the idea? And once again, please note down what is the unit of this electric field. In generally, what is the unit of electric field? Volt per meter, because voltage means unit is volt. You are making differentiation. Differentiation means in the denominator dx comes. That means what? Volt per meter. Okay, volt per meter. Okay. Then, so what is this equation is telling? Okay. So note, please make note of this equation. What is this equation is actually telling? Voltage is getting changed due to phase variation. Voltage is getting changed. In the morning itself, we have seen when you go around to different places, definitely the voltage will change. Okay, voltage is getting changed due to space variation. Due to space variation, that means the more closer to the stationary charge, you will get more voltage. Okay, voltage is getting changed due to space variation. Okay, space variation. Okay, that means what? Once if you go to some different place, definitely there will be change in voltage. Okay, then how much change will be there? So change in voltage measurement will give electric field. Okay, so you are at one point, you are going to some other different point. Now you have made some, definitely there will be change in a voltage. How much change will be there? It depends on what is electric field. It depends on what is the electric field. So change in voltage measurement will give the electric field. So change in voltage measurement will give you voltage measurement will give you electric field, will give electric field. Okay, will give E field. Simply that equation itself I have written in the statement. Okay, change in voltage. See, change in voltage. Okay, dv by dx means what, sir? What is change in voltage with respect to space variation? Okay, that will give you what, sir? Electric field. That will give you the electric field. Okay, so here, what is V? V is a potential function. V is a potential function, scalar potential function. That too scalar, not vector. Scalar potential function. Okay, scalar potential function. Okay, and then E field is the gradient. E field is the gradient of the scalar electric potential function. E field is the gradient of scalar electric potential function. Gradient of scalar electric potential function. Okay, just they are making relation between the electric field and voltage. Again, from your previous experience, you know what is electric field. You know what is electric field? Voltage divided by distance. You know this. Okay, voltage means what is the unit? What is the unit of this? Volt per meter. Volt per meter. This you know already. Electric field basics. Electric field means what? Voltage divided by distance. Voltage divided by distance. That is called as electric field. That is called as electric field. Okay, that only they are putting in some different format. Okay, electric field is equal to dV, like that. Okay, dV. Okay, that anyway, that minus sign, I'll explain you what is the meaning of minus sign later. Okay, now electric field is equal to what? Minus del V. Again, this is similar to this one only. Okay, whenever the relationship between the variation is linear, you can use very simple formula. Okay, the variation is irregular. Okay, if the variation is irregular, you have to use differentiation formula. Okay, whenever the differentiation and integration comes into the picture, whenever you are having irregular variation. Okay, irregular variation. So this is the generalized formula. E is equal to minus del V. P is equal to minus del V. Okay. Now we'll see what is equipotential surface. What is equipotential surface? Equipotential surface. The name itself clearly gives the idea. The potential is uniform over the surface. The potential is uniform over the surface. Okay. Surface on which potential difference between any 2 points is zero. What is equipotential surface? You take any surface. Okay. You take any surface. The potential difference, you take any surface, the potential difference between any 2 point is zero. Any 2 point is zero. That is called equipotential surface. You take any surface, the potential difference between any 2 point is zero. Okay. For example, this is suppose I am having some point charge here. Okay. The point charge value is say some q, stationary charge. Okay. Point charge value is q, some stationary charge. Okay. If I am around this point charge and the imaginary sphere, okay, I am having some test charge. Okay. Test charge, you know, the field, the force realized by the test charge is called as voltage. Okay. Realized by the test charge is called voltage. I measure the voltage here. I measure the voltage here. I come here and I measure the voltage here. I measure the voltage here. See, 3 situations I have taken. 1, 2, 3. What will happen? In the morning we have seen, once if you are, see, your R is not changing. Your distance between source and your observation point is not changing. Okay, once if it is not changing, definitely your potential will not vary, because potential, what they are telling, potential at any point due to point charge is equal to Q divided by 4 pi epsilon R. 4 pi epsilon R. Okay, your radius is same. Once if you move along the surface, you go anywhere on the surface, so your voltage will not change. Again, voltage at the case 1, at the case 2, at the case 3 is 0. So this surface is called equipotential surface. This surface is called equipotential surface. Okay, equipotential surface. This is the idea for the equipotential surface. Okay, you take some charge configuration. In this, I have taken point charge. Okay, in this I have taken a point charge. Okay, you put some imaginary spherical surface. You move along the surface and you measure your voltage. Your voltage will not change. Okay, your voltage will not change. Okay, anyway, everything is available with the simulation. I will do that. Okay, in the next session. But at this point, please note down. Okay, what is equipotential surface? The surface on which the voltage is always same. Voltage is always same. So again, you are getting same voltage. Then potential difference is zero only. Okay, once if you are getting same voltage, you measure the potential difference between point 1 and 2. Definitely that is zero. Okay, that is why the definition they are giving like that. Okay, equipotential surface. Okay, can I draw one more equipotential surface like this? Yes, I can draw. Suppose the same case. Suppose so if I go like this, I will get some voltage, or otherwise I may go like this also. I can choose another imaginary spherical surface. I can go here also, but definitely voltage here is different from this one. Say for example, this is the point A, voltage A. This is the point B, voltage B. Definitely, which one will be greater? Definitely VA is greater, because that is near to the source. Okay, VA is greater, that is near to the source, or otherwise it has traveled larger distance from the infinite. Okay, it has traveled larger distance from the infinite, because by definition what we have seen, you have to come from infinite distance to this point. Definitely VA would have traveled long distance. That's why it is having more potential. That's why it is having more potential. Okay, so my VA is greater than VB. My VA is greater than VB. But anyway, but these two surfaces are equipotential surface. This is the equipotential surface of one. Say this is the first equipotential surface, and this is the second equipotential surface, and clearly these two surfaces are parallel to each other. Clearly the equipotential surface 1 is parallel to equipotential surface 2. Okay, that means what is the conclusion? Equipotential surfaces are always parallel to each other. Okay, equipotential surface are always parallel to each other. Not only this case, in any case I am telling parallel to each other. This is some simple case. I have taken this configuration. In any case, equipotential surface are always parallel to each other. Okay, you choose some other surface, equipotential surface, still that will be parallel to these surfaces. Okay, equipotential surfaces are always parallel to each other. Okay, then one more thing is there. Then what is the direction of the electric field with respect to equipotential surface? Okay, and it is very clear that, see, that electric field goes in this way. Okay, goes in this way, or it goes in this way, definitely, or you take here, definitely the electric field goes in this way. At any point of time, you see that electric field is always, this is the direction of the electric field, sir. This is the direction of the electric field. At any point of time, electric field is always perpendicular to the equipotential surface. Another one observation is, at any point of time, E field, the electric field is perpendicular to equipotential surface. Equipotential surface. These are all two observations from this. First of all, we have seen what is equipotential surface. Okay, what is equipotential surface? Equipotential surface is the surface over which we are having equal potential. Equipotential surface is a surface over which we are having equal potential. Okay, the next, if there are more than one equipotential surface, they have to be definitely parallel to each other. Okay, there are two equipotential surfaces, they are parallel to each other. And what is the relation between equipotential surface and electric field? Electric field will be always perpendicular to the equipotential surface. And please clearly note down this. Not only in this case, in any case, this is true. Okay, in any charge configuration, everywhere these 2 point is valid. Everywhere in the electromagnetics, these 2 point is valid. Okay, these 2 point is valid. Okay, please clearly note down this. Next I give you some example. Suppose if I am having infinite line, in the exam they used to ask like this, sir. What they will ask? I am having point charge. What is the shape of the equipotential surface? They will ask. What is the shape here? Surface of the sphere. In this case, what is the shape, sir? This one is surface of the sphere. And then suppose they may ask question like this. Okay, in the exam, I am having infinite line. Okay, I am having infinite line. What is the equipotential surface of this line? I am having infinite line. What is the equipotential surface of this line? They ask like this question. Can anybody tell me what is the equipotential surface of this line if I am having infinite line? Okay, if my line is going from minus infinity to plus infinity and it is having rho L charge density, what will be my equipotential surface? My equipotential surface is cylinder. My equipotential surface. You draw some cylinder. You go anywhere on the surface of the cylinder. Anywhere on the surface of the cylinder, definitely you will have same potential function. Same potential function. Okay, that is the concept. You draw a equipotential. Again, these are all parallel surfaces because any two equipotential surfaces are parallel to each other. Okay, and clearly for infinite line, the lateral surface of the cylinder forms equipotential surface. It's very clear because from our understanding, we know lateral surface of the cylinder forms equipotential surface. Okay, and please here also please note down clearly what is the direction of the electric field. The direction of the electric field. This is the direction of the electric field. Just a perpendicular direction. Okay, just a perpendicular direction. So at any point of time, if you want to have a variation in the voltage, then in which direction you have to travel? If you want to have a voltage variation, you have to go in which direction? Along the equipotential surface or perpendicular to the equipotential surface? Okay, to have a variation, definitely you have to go along the perpendicular to the equipotential surface. Okay, to vary the potential value, if you want to vary the potential value, to vary the potential value, okay, travel normal to the equipotential surface, travel normal to the equipotential surface. Normal means what, sir? Perpendicular. Equipotential surface. Okay. Okay. Now we have seen the voltage scalar function in that Cartesian coordinate system. Then if it is a spherical and cylindrical coordinate system, then what is the relation between the gradient function? What is the relation between the gradient function? Okay, see, for example, say v of x comma y comma z is a potential scalar function. Potential scalar function. Okay, scalar function. Then what is gradient of v? The first case is very simple, dv by dx, ax cap, dv by dy, ay cap, dz by dv, dv by dz, az cap. Already I told you how to calculate dv. For any function, you can calculate dv. Already formula I have given you. What is the gradient formula in 3 coordinate system? Okay, there I would have given some variable f like that. Instead of f, you have to use some here v. Okay, instead of, again I told you very clearly, once if you take gradient, okay, once if you take gradient, the function that is available here has to be a scalar function. The function that is available here has to be a scalar function. But finally you will get a vector. Finally you will get a vector. That is the idea. Okay. See what I am telling. In dv, this is scalar, sir. V is scalar. But what is dv final? That is a vector. Because dv is equal to what? Minus e. Okay, anyway, e is a vector. V is a scalar, but dv is a vector. Okay, and this is for Cartesian coordinate system. The next, if you write it for spherical coordinate system, dv divided by d rho, a rho cap, 1 by rho, dv divided by pi, a pi cap, dv divided by dz, a z cap. Next for cylindrical, next finally for spherical coordinate system, dv divided by dr, ar cap, 1 by r, dv divided by d theta, a theta cap, 1 by r sin theta, okay, dv divided by d phi, okay, a phi cap. Okay, now here I will give you one exercise. Okay, one exercise. Again, for a point charge case, you know what is electric field. For point charge, the electric field is q divided by 4 pi epsilon r square. You know what is voltage in that case, q divided by 4 pi epsilon r. Okay, and you know what is the coordinate system. What is the coordinate system? Spherical coordinate system. Spherical coordinate system. Okay, spherical coordinate system. Okay, you do one thing. Okay, so here the formula is available for a spherical coordinate system. Del v formula is available. Okay, anyway v is available, and you know one relation how del v and e is related. E is equal to minus del v. E is equal to minus del v. Anyway, now I have given you how to calculate del v here. Okay, here we have given how to calculate del v. Okay, you know what is v. You do differentiation. Okay, you concentrate on the component that is available. Okay, if only ar component is available, you have to do this one only. Okay, don't worry about these things. This will become 0. Okay, this will become 0. Then once after doing dv, you put just some minus. Then you check it yourself whether you are getting e or not. Okay, so very simple things. Just you try it yourself. Okay. Yes. Next, we'll compare some basics, then we will form some new equations. Okay. From our basic understanding, we know what is del dot D. Okay. Del dot D is equal to rho V. That means what? Divergence of electric flux density is equal to volume charge density, because by definition itself, what is the divergence? Number of flux coming out of per unit volume, so okay, so del dot D is equal to what, sir? Rho V. Del dot D is equal to rho V. And what is the relation between electric flux and electric field? Say D bar is equal to epsilon E bar. This you know, D bar is equal to epsilon E bar. Okay. Then once if you substitute this value in this one, what is coming? Say the del is directly you can write, instead of D you can put D epsilon E bar and rho V. Now this is a dot product, means it is finally giving you some kind of differentiation. Okay, dot product means finally some differentiation. Whether can you take this outside or not? Okay, can you take this epsilon outside or not? Okay, any idea? Can you take this epsilon outside? Yes, you can take outside if epsilon is independent of space variable, because del is space function. Okay, differentiation of space function. If epsilon independent of space, if epsilon is independent of space, then you can take epsilon outside. Okay, epsilon outside, then del dot E bar dV. Once if the epsilon is independent of space, that particular medium is called homogeneous medium. Homogeneous medium. That means what? Medium property is same everywhere. You go anywhere on the system, coordinate system, that your epsilon is constant. Okay, your epsilon is constant, independent of space, then your system is called homogeneous medium. Okay, once if it is a homogeneous medium, you can write del dot E is equal to rho V divided by epsilon. Okay, this is true for which medium? This is true for homogeneous medium. Okay, you can write like this. Please be careful. This is true for homogeneous medium. Say for example, if epsilon is function of space, that is possible, because you sometimes they will mention epsilon itself, they will mention like this. Okay, along x-axis it is having say sometimes they used to mention like this: epsilon is equal to epsilon x, ax cap. Then what is the meaning? Along the x-axis it is having epsilon x value, along the y-axis it is having some other value. Like this also sometimes they mention. Then what is the real meaning of this? It is having different value in different direction. Okay, epsilon itself is a function of space. Once if it is a function of the space, that particular medium is called non-homogeneous medium. Non-homogeneous. Okay, medium properties is changing with respect to direction. That particular medium is called non-homogeneous medium. Non-homogeneous medium. Okay, in case of non-homogeneous medium, you cannot take this epsilon outside. In case of non-homogeneous medium, you cannot take this epsilon outside. You have to simply write like this only. Okay, you cannot. This is for which medium? Non-homogeneous medium. You cannot take epsilon outside. If you take outside, then it will give you the wrong answer. That will give you the wrong answer. Okay, this is for non-homogeneous medium. So you have to be very careful in the exam whether they are asking for homogeneous medium or non-homogeneous medium. Based on that, you have to choose the option correctly. Okay, just like that, you should not take this take this epsilon outside. You can take only when homogeneous medium. If it is a non-homogeneous medium, you should not take it outside. Once if you take it, that will give you the wrong answer. Okay, this is the idea of the homogeneous and non-homogeneous medium. Okay, next with this we will try to derive Poisson and Laplace equation. Poisson and Laplace equation. Okay, we'll try to derive Poisson and Laplace equation. Okay, so Poisson and Laplace equation. and that too for homogeneous medium. Okay, if homogeneous, if the medium is homogeneous, okay, then epsilon is independent of space. Homogeneous epsilon is independent of space. Then we have seen is equal to rho v divided by epsilon, but we know what is E is equal to minus del V is equal to minus del V. Then del dot minus del V is equal to rho V divided by epsilon. Again, del dot del V can be written as del square V. And please, you prove it yourself. This is true. You take del dot del V and you prove it yourself. That is del square V. That is easy only. Okay, first you do gradient. Okay, first you do gradient, then divergence. So finally, you are getting del square V. Okay, del square V is equal to minus rho V by epsilon. This particular equation is called Poisson equation. Very important. This particular equation, that means what? Second order differentiation of the potential function gives you the Poisson equation. Second order differentiation of the potential function gives you the Poisson equation. See, one differentiation means what is the change? Again, if the function itself is of second order, then you have to calculate one more differentiation. Okay, one more differentiation. So second order differentiation of the potential function gives you the Poisson equation. So very important. This one is Poisson equation. Okay, Poisson equation. Okay, so in particular case, suppose if no charge density is present, volume charge density value is 0. Okay, so volume charge density is 0, then once if you do second order differentiation, then definitely you will get 0. Okay, this particular case is called Laplace equation. This particular case is called Laplace equation. Okay, Laplace equation. Okay, so this is the idea of what is del square V is equal to minus rho V by epsilon Poisson. If 0 comes, Laplace. Mostly you will get confusion between whether 0 for Poisson or rho V by epsilon for Laplace. Like this kind of confusion you will have, but I will give you very simple idea. Anyway, that Laplace is something related with what's our max. Okay, so that time you simply put 0. Okay, then Poisson is something new. It is related with the electronics. That time you put your some realistic answer rho V by epsilon, because many time it will get confused. Okay, which one will have 0, which one will be having some value like that. Okay, this is some simple idea to remember. Okay, then how to calculate the del square V for different coordinate system. Del square V for different coordinate system. Okay, this we have to going to see for different coordinate system how to calculate del square V. Okay, first of all we will see what is del square V. Del square V, we have told del dot dV. Okay, what is del? Ax cap dou by dou x, ay dou by dou y, az cap dou by dou z. Dot product with the gradient of voltage function. So dV by dx, ax cap, dV by dy, ay cap, dV by dz, az cap. Once if we make dot product, d square V by dx square, d square V by dy square, d square V by dz square. Okay, that's why del square V is equal to, in a simple ordinary coordinate system, you can write like this. Again, you know what is V. V is what, sir? V is function of x comma y comma z. Okay, it is a scalar function, potential scalar function. Okay, scalar potential function, scalar potential function. Okay, then how to write this for the other coordinates?